The guard's plasma rifle hummed against Captain Reese Dalton's ribs as the alien escorts shoved him through corridors that pulsed with bioluminescent veins. His squadron lay dead on the mining colony behind him. Their mission: rescue human prisoners from the Vextari Empire. His fate? Unclear. The aliens marched him deeper into their warship, through passages that seemed grown rather than built, until massive doors split open like a wound. Inside, a woman sat on the floor. She wore torn gray fabric that might have once been a uniform. Her dark hair hung in tangled knots. Bruises shattered her arms. When she looked up, her eyes held the hollow stare Reese had seen in POW camps during the border wars. The guards threw him forward and sealed the doors behind him. "How long have they had you?" Reese asked, crawling toward her. She didn't answer. Her gaze drifted past him to the sealed entrance. "I'm Captain Dalton, Earth Defense Force. We came for the prisoners. Things went bad, but if you can tell me about their security protocols, maybe we can, you shouldn't have come." Her voice came out rough, unused. "We don't leave people behind." "Is that what you think this is?" Before Reese could respond, the doors opened. A small figure darted inside. A child, no more than 6 years old. The girl had the same violet skin as the Vextari guards, but moved with the unsteady enthusiasm of any human child. She ran straight to the woman and wrapped small arms around her neck. "Mother, the council is waiting. Admiral Crix says they cannot delay the testimony any longer." Reese's stomach turned to ice. The woman's hand moved to stroke the child's hair with practiced gentleness. When she spoke, her tone shifted from hollow to warm. "Tell Admiral Crix that Protocol Section 7 allows me to determine the timeline. He knows this. He says the human prisoners complicate matters. That. Your judgment is..." The child stopped, noticing Reese for the first time. Her eyes widened. "Who is that?" "Someone who made a mistake," the woman said. The child moved closer to Reese, studying him with unnerving intensity. "He has their colors, the ones who burned the outer colonies." "Many humans wear those colors," the woman replied. "Not all are responsible, but the testimony will proceed when I say." The woman's voice hardened just enough. The child stepped back. "Yes, Mother." She turned to leave, paused. "Admiral Crix says if you show weakness again, the council will vote to leave us." The girl hesitated, then nodded and slipped back through the doors. Silence filled the chamber, like radiation. Reese's mind raced through the implications. Mother, Admiral Crix. Council. The woman wasn't a prisoner. The bruises, the torn clothing, they were something else entirely. "You're Vextari," he said. "Half." She stood, and he saw how the tattered fabric hung deliberately, how the bruises formed patterns too precise to be random. "My mother was human, taken during the first expansion. My father was Emperor Vexnal III. I am, or was, Princess Alera Vexnal. Was... Names change with circumstances, Captain. Right now, I'm the regent holding this empire together while my daughter grows old enough to choose her path. Tomorrow, depending on what I tell the council, I might be dead." The plasma burns on his legs buckled him. "The prisoners. The humans in the mining colonies. We tracked the ships here. Those ships brought witnesses, not prisoners." Hilera moved to a wall panel that bloomed open at her touch. Inside, a holographic display flickered to life. 3 months ago, a faction within my empire attacked 12 human settlements. They claimed it was sanctioned expansion. It wasn't. I ordered them to stand trial. The hologram showed carnage. Burning cities. Bodies. Children running through smoke. Reese recognized the tactics. Surgical strikes meant to break morale, not conquer territory. The faction claims I've grown too human, too weak. They want my daughter raised by proper Vextari leaders. Elara's finger traced the destruction on the display. "The humans you thought were prisoners are survivors I brought here to testify. To prove what happened. To condemn my own people. Then why the act? Why dress like... They watch everything. If I appear strong, decisive, alien enough, they'll say I've abandoned my human heritage and can't be trusted to judge fairly. If I appear too human, they'll remove me for weakness. So I dress in torn human clothing and let them think I'm breaking. Let them think the testimony destroys me. Let them believe I'm barely holding on. While you control every word of it. While I ensure justice happens before they can stop it." She closed the hologram. "Your rescue mission endangered everything. If you'd succeeded, if you'd taken those survivors away, There would be no witnesses, no trial, no chance for peace. Reese felt the weight of his failure multiply. My crew died for nothing. Your crew died because someone sent them bad intelligence. Ilara knelt beside him, meeting his eyes. Who told you about prisoners? They intercepted Vextari transmissions about human cargo. From which sector? Reese recited the coordinates from memory. Ilara's expression darkened. Admiral Crix's fleet. He wanted you to come, Captain. Wanted humans to attack during the testimony. Wanted proof that my judgment is compromised, that I'd let my human blood endanger the Empire. She stood. You're not a prisoner. You're evidence. Tomorrow, Crix will present you to the Council as proof that humans only understand violence, that peace is impossible. Then kill me now. Don't let them use me. Let you tell the truth about who sent you, about what you saw in the transmissions, about how perfectly this trap was laid. Ilara moved to the door. Tomorrow, Captain, you'll help me prove that both our peoples are being manipulated into war. Or you'll stay silent and let it happen. Why would your people believe a human? 'Cause I'm going to make them listen to every human in this facility. Survivors. Witnesses. Even unwitting pawns like you. I'm going to bury them in truth until they can't breathe lies anymore. Guards entered, wordless. Take him to medical, Ilara commanded. He testifies tomorrow. I want him alive and coherent. As they lifted Reese, he saw her transform. The broken prisoner vanished. Her spine straightened. Her eyes went cold. She walked past him into the corridor beyond, every inch a ruler moving through her domain. Guards followed her with reverent precision, leaving two behind to carry him. In the medical bay, machines hummed over his burns. Through the walls, he heard the sound of massive engines powering up. The warship was moving, accelerating, taking them somewhere the Council couldn't ignore and couldn't escape. He'd come here to rescue a prisoner and found a queen preparing for war against her own empire. The question was whether he'd survive long enough to see which side won. Through the medical bay's transparent wall, he watched stars stream past like tears. Somewhere in that darkness, Earth waited for word of his mission. Somewhere, Ilara's daughter learned what it meant to carry two peoples in her blood. And somewhere, Admiral Crix prepared his final move against a woman who refused to break the way he expected. Reese closed his eyes and tried to remember his crew's faces. He owed them more than dying as someone else's pawn. When he opened them again, Ilara stood at the medical bay entrance. The Council convenes in 6 hours. Can you walk? I can stand. Good enough. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. When they question you, tell them everything. Don't protect me. Don't try to make yourself look better. The truth is messy and complicated, and it's the only weapon that works against fanatics. Understood? And if they don't believe me, then we both die, Captain. But at least we die honest. She turned to leave, paused. Your crew. You want their names recorded? The question hit harder than any weapon. You do that. I'm half human. We remember our dead. She pulled out a small device. Tell me. Reese recited each name. Lieutenant Sarah Chen. Sergeant Marcus Webb. Private First Class David Okoro. Corporal Anna Santos. Specialist James Mitchell. As he spoke, Ilara's fingers moved over the device, transcribing each syllable with careful precision. When he finished, she nodded once. They'll be remembered in both languages. Human and Vextari, inscribed in the memorial halls on Vexno Prime. She met his eyes. They came here for the right reasons, Captain. That matters. Even if the mission was wrong, their intentions deserve honor. The medical machines continued their work, knitting flesh and bone. Through the wall, the stars streamed endlessly by. Reese slept and dreamed of fire. When the guards came for him, his legs held. Barely. They led him through corridors packed with Vextari citizens who pressed against walls to let them pass. He saw fear in their violet eyes. Confusion. Some whispered as he passed, words he couldn't understand but recognized as curses or prayers. The council chamber was a sphere carved from living crystal. Hundreds of Vextari filled tiered seats that rose toward a domed ceiling where light fractured into rainbow patterns. At the chamber's center stood 7 raised platforms, each holding a council member draped in elaborate armor that pulsed with bioluminescence. Admiral Crix occupied the highest platform. His armor glowed deep crimson, marking him as military commander. When he spoke, his voice filled the chamber without amplification. The Regent refuses to condemn the human aggression that resulted in yesterday's attack. She brings their warrior here as if he deserves sanctuary rather than execution. This proves what we have claimed. Her human blood makes her unfit to lead. Murmurs rippled through the assembled crowd. Rhys saw Elara standing on a platform at the sphere's opposite end. She wore the same torn clothing, but her posture radiated controlled power. Beside her stood the human survivors, 23 men, women, and children who stared at the council with expressions ranging from terror to rage. "The council will hear testimony," Elara announced. Her voice cut through the murmurs like a blade. "Protocol Section 7 grants the Regent authority to compel witness statements during matters of Imperial security. I invoke that protocol now." "You dishonor yourself," Crix shot back. "These humans should not stand in this chamber. These humans survived attacks ordered by members of this council. They will speak. You will listen." "That is not negotiable, Admiral." The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop. Crix's armor flared brighter. "You overstep your authority. I execute my authority. There is a difference. You would do well to remember it." Elara gestured to the first survivor, a woman whose face bore scars from plasma burns. "Tell them what you saw." The woman's voice shook but held. She described the attack on her colony, the ships that arrived without warning, the weapons that carved through civilian shelters. She spoke for 10 minutes, painting a picture of calculated slaughter designed to look like military necessity. When she finished, Elara called the next survivor, then the next. Each testimony built on the last. Patterns emerged. Times, coordinates, ship classifications. The attacks hadn't been random expansion. They'd been orchestrated by specific fleet commanders to provoke human retaliation. To create the war Crix needed to justify seizing power. After the 12th survivor finished, Crix stood. "Enough! We do not need more human lies." "They're not finished," Elara said quietly. "I said enough!" Crix's armor blazed. "You parade these creatures before us as if their word means anything. They are conquered peoples. Their testimony is worthless. Then hear from one of your own."
Elara turned to Rhys. "Captain Dalton."
"Tell the council who sent you here." Rhys stepped forward, feeling every eye in the chamber lock onto him. His legs trembled but held. "Earth Defense Force Command received intercepted transmissions indicating human prisoners were being held on this ship. We were ordered to mount a rescue operation." The intelligence came from transmissions originating in Admiral Crix's fleet. "Why would I lure human warriors here?" "To make the Regent look weak, to prove she couldn't control security." "To give you justification for removing her," Rhys's voice grew stronger. "You needed humans to attack during the testimony. Needed violence to interrupt justice. I was the weapon you tried to use." The chamber erupted. Council members shouted over each other. Crix's armor flared so bright it hurt to look at him. But Elara simply stood there, silent and still, letting the chaos wash over her like a tide against stone. Then a small voice cut through the noise. "The human speaks truth." She held a data tablet that glowed with transmitted information. "I accessed Admiral Crix's personal communication logs. He sent the transmissions that brought the humans here. He ordered his fleet to allow their landing craft through the defensive perimeter. All of it is documented." The silence that followed felt absolute. Crix stared at the child, his armor dimming. "You dare accuse me based on fabricated, the ones you thought were encrypted. Mother taught me to break Vextari military encryption when I was 4. She said I would need to know who to trust and who to fear. You made it very easy to determine which you are." She walked forward, each step measured and precise, and handed the tablet to the nearest council member. The data began transferring to the central holographic display. Within seconds, the entire chamber could see the evidence. Messages, orders, timestamps that proved Crix had orchestrated not just the attack on Elara's ship, but the original strikes on human colonies. "He wanted war," the child continued. "War to make Mother look weak. War to justify removing her. War to ensure I would be raised by people who believe violence is strength." She turned to face Crix directly. "But Mother taught me that real strength is knowing when not to kill. That true power comes from making enemies into allies, not corpses. You failed to understand that, Admiral. That is why you will never rule." Crix's hand moved toward his weapon. In one fluid motion, Elara crossed the chamber and drove her fist into his throat. The Admiral crumpled, gasping. Guards surged forward, but other council members raised their hands in a stopping gesture. "The evidence is clear," one of them announced. "Admiral Crix has violated Imperial law." He has endangered the Empire through false testimony and engineered conflict. The penalty is death. No, Elara said, every eye turned to her. He stands trial. Public. Complete. Every piece of evidence presented, every victim given voice, every co-conspirator exposed. She looked down at Crix, still gasping on the chamber floor. He wanted to prove I'm too human to lead. Fine, let him watch me execute human justice. Fair, thorough, inevitable. This empire stands at a crossroads. We can continue the expansion that brought us here, crushing other species beneath our technological superiority. Or we could build something different, something that honors strength without worshipping violence. My daughter represents that possibility. Half Vextari, half human, fully capable of leading us toward a future where both peoples thrive. And if we refuse? Another council member asked. Then you remove me and raise her yourselves. But know this, she already learned everything I have to teach. She can break your encryptions. She can navigate your politics. She can stand in this chamber and present evidence that destroys you with the same precision I just demonstrated. The only question is whether she does it with my guidance or against your opposition. Reese watched the council members exchange glances. He saw calculation replace anger, fear become respect. They'd come expecting to judge a weakening ruler. Instead, they found a woman who'd turned their own trap into proof of her strength. The council member holding the data tablet spoke carefully. The regent has proven her capability. The evidence supports her testimony. Admiral Crix and his co-conspirators will stand trial. The human survivors will be given full diplomatic status and compensation for their losses, and we will open formal peace negotiations with Earth Defense Force Command. Elara nodded. This session is concluded. The chamber began to empty. Guards took Crix away, still gasping. The human survivors clustered together, confusion and relief written across their faces. Elara's daughter moved to her mother's side, and Reese saw the resemblance clearly now. Not in appearance, but in the way they both held themselves, ready for anything, afraid of nothing. Elara approached him as the last council members filed out. Your mission failed, Captain, but you helped achieve something better than a rescue. You helped prove that humans in Vextari can recognize truth even when it's inconvenient. What happens to me now? You tell them what you saw here. You tell them there's a chance for peace if both sides want it badly enough. She paused. And you tell them that next time they receive intelligence about prisoners, maybe they should verify the source? I will. Reese looked at the child standing beside her. Your daughter is remarkable. She's terrifying, Elara corrected. She's smarter than I was at twice her age, and she has absolutely no patience for political games. When she takes power, this empire is going to change in ways I can barely imagine. The girl smiled, shy and fierce. Mother says I get the scary intelligence from my human grandmother. She survived 3 Vextari interrogations by teaching her captors Earth poetry. They were so confused they eventually just let her join the household staff. And from there, Elara added, she caught my father's attention by reciting Shakespeare while serving dinner. 6 months later, I was born. So yes, Captain, humans can be very dangerous when properly motivated. Despite his dead crew. Despite nearly starting an interstellar war. Despite standing in an alien council chamber after watching a 6-year-old dismantle a military coup with stolen data. I'll include that in my report, he said. Please do. Elara extended her hand in the human gesture of farewell. Tell Earth that the Vextari Empire is ready to talk. Tell them we're willing to listen. And tell them that sometimes the most terrifying thing in the galaxy isn't weapons or ships or armies. It's a mother protecting her child's future. Reese shook her hand. Her grip was strong, certain, built from years of balancing between 2 peoples who wanted her to choose. She'd chosen both. Somehow, impossibly, she'd made it work. The guards escorted him back to his landing craft. The survivors came with him. 23 humans who'd thought they were prisoners until a half-alien queen decided their voices mattered more than political convenience. They'd testify on Earth. They'd tell the truth about what happened. And maybe, just maybe, both sides would listen. As his ship pulled away from the Vextari warship, Reese looked back at the massive vessel. Through one window, he saw a small figure waving. Elara's daughter, already learning what it meant to rule an empire while building bridges across species. She'd grow up facing challenges he couldn't imagine, carrying burdens no child should bear. But she'd do it with her mother's strength and her grandmother's cunning, and the combined wisdom of 2 peoples who'd finally learned to hear each other. That had to count for something. His ship accelerated toward home, carrying survivors and hope, and evidence that peace was possible if anyone had the courage to demand it. Behind him, the Vextari warship turned toward its capital, carrying a queen who'd wagered everything on truth and won. Above them both, the galaxy turned, indifferent and eternal. But somewhere in that darkness, human and Vextari children would grow up, knowing that the war everyone expected never came. That justice mattered more than revenge. That a woman in torn clothing could face down an empire and reshape it through sheer determination. Rhys thought about his crew again, about Lieutenant Chen who'd believed in impossible rescues, about Sergeant Webb who'd trusted bad intelligence because it came through proper channels, about all of them who'd died trying to do the right thing with wrong information. He'd make sure their names were remembered on Earth, too. Inscribed alongside the survivors they'd died trying to save. Honored for their intentions even when their mission failed. Because Alara was right. That mattered. It had to.